I'm going to start out with an apology to the French language. I'm going to butcher you. I'm very sorry. Hi, I'm Bailey. I talk about books, and today I'm going to talk about this one in particular. I read The Madwoman's Ball by Victoria Ma. I finished it yesterday. I read it from my local indie bookstore's speculative fiction themed book club. I probably never would have picked this book up for myself, but I'm super glad I had to because I really enjoyed it. I think The Madwoman's Ball is a great book for fans of literary fiction, historical fiction, and fantasy. I think it's a great intersection of the three. And if you're interested in any of the aspects of any of those genres, I really think that you will probably find what you're looking for in this book. This book does an excellent job of hitting on what the reader of each of those genres is looking for. And she does it in like 230 pages. There really is so much packed into such a short, quick, fast-paced book. This book follows two women, Geneviève, I think. Please don't. I'm so sorry if I'm saying these names wrong. Geneviève and Eugenie. Geneviève is the head nurse at the Salpêtrière. I know I'm not saying that right. The Home for Mad Women. I'm very sorry. I don't know what to call it. I cannot say Salpêtrière correct. I know I'm saying it wrong. I really have tried. She's the head nurse at this institution, and when we meet her, she's very secure in this position she's been in for a very long time, and kind of the only emotional thing we get out of her is that she writes letters to her younger sister that are very fond letters. And Eugenie is kind of an impetuous young woman. She does not wish to get married. Everyone in her family kind of sees her as the local oddball. Her father doesn't respect her. Her mother kind of doesn't have interactions with her. Her brother kind of tolerates her, but she has quite a supportive relationship with her grandmother. But she also has a secret that she has tried to tell other people, but no one has ever believed her, and that she sees spirits of the dead. And this book does have a fantastical element to it. She does actually see actual dead people. That is an accepted part of the reality this book is set in. Ma does an incredible job of setting up the chain of events that leads to Eugenie being incarcerated in this place. And by incarcerated, I don't mean she was put in there by the legal system. She's just forcibly put in this house by her family, and she cannot leave. The plot follows these two women in a very deeply interconnected story, though each woman has her own emotional journey that differs greatly from the other ones. If you are also the kind of person who read The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner and was really disappointed in the historical aspect of that book, if you thought that that book was pitched as a feminist story and then kind of didn't deliver on that story, I really think that this book is for you. It is all historical. There is no modern element like there is with the Sarah Penner book, but it delivers on the feminist aspect. So much of this book really talks about women and their interactions with society, how they interact with men and how they interact with each other. It is a very feminist and a very realistic story. I would encourage that if you have any particular content that you would not like to read, that you look up content warnings. But I will say in particular, this book does talk about sexual assault at least twice throughout the book, maybe 3 times, and there is vague on the page description. The titular Madwoman's Ball is the point at which the book is building towards. Early in the book, Eugenie says that Geneviève will help her by the time they get to the Madwoman's Ball. So you're kind of building to Eugenie's escape attempt, and you are increasingly worried something bad is coming. You know, rightfully so. It's a book. Something bad is always coming. And Ma does a very good job of making you so worried for the bad thing coming. I particularly loved the minor characters in this book, specifically the way that Louise's story was handled. Ma does an excellent job of setting up her story, and I'm trying to talk about this without any spoilers because I really loved what she did with this character. The way that she sets up this character arc, you are very much expecting one thing, and you're not inherently wrong, but as you read the book, Louise gets more and more nuanced, and you kind of understand her better And at least my reading experience was that I then felt bad about thinking she was kind of silly early in the book, because the way that she's deepened throughout the book, you are able to see why she would be childish and silly, why she would cling to those feelings. And it's just so heartbreaking. I really love this character. I really love her relationship with Therese, who I think is an excellent character as well. This book is just full of minor characters that really are very well done. There is so much in this very short book. I am just kind of gushing about it because I liked it. So I'm gushing because that's what you do when you like a book. I don't normally read translated works. Sometimes I think the language is a little stilted, but that could totally just be I'm picking translated work that isn't for me. Maybe I need to read some more translated stuff because I really loved this book. It was translated by Frank Wayne. Maybe I'll see what else Frank Wayne has translated because I really enjoyed this book. And I can't wait until Victoria Ma has both written something else and it has been translated into English because I cannot read nor speak French. If you miss traveling, you should read this book. The plotting in this book is incredibly tight. If you want to read something where nothing is extraneous, you should read this book. Every moment is an important moment to lead you to the place where this book ends. I tend to really like much longer books, so I don't mind like a bit of waffling. I don't mind like slow and contemplative and getting a bunch of details and not knowing exactly which details are the important details. But this book does not do that, and it does it very well. So, you know, you can like two things. I highlighted probably almost literally a 16th of this book. I use the Caran d'Ache highlighter pencil. I recommend for anyone who wants to highlight and does not want it to bleed. Looks like this. And that random page I flipped through has an excellent quote on it. Illness dehumanizes and makes puppets of these women, at the mercy of their grotesque symptoms, rag dolls in the hands of doctors who manipulate and examine every fold of skin, curious animals who elicit only a clinical curiosity. They are patients, lunatics, nobodies. At best, her task is to minister to them. At worst, to keep them confined in acceptable conditions. And that's kind of where Geneviève starts out in the beginning of the book. That's her conceptualization of the patients. And then through her interactions with Eugenie, you see her change over time. And it's just done superbly. I will say, if you're the kind of person who only wants to read an unambiguously happy ending, maybe this is not for you. The language in this book is absolutely delightful. I think that I will probably be buying at least one more copy of this book to give to somebody as a present this holiday season. I think that this book would be great for fans of literary fiction who want to get into fantasy, or maybe not even want to, but who won't mind the fantastical element. I think this is a pretty decent introduction point in a way that feels very grounded. I think that historical fiction already does a great job world building, and obviously fantasy is a genre that pretty much requires world building. I think the literary aspect of this book very much serves the world building in a beautiful way. Side note, I do mostly read fantasy. Fantasy is my favorite genre. You might not know this about me. You might be a random internet person who does not know me. I love fantasy books, and a lot of books that aren't fantasy that I also love. The thing I love about them is that they do world building well, and this book builds the world really beautifully. And not at all at the expense of building excellent character journeys. This is some of the tightest character building I have read in a while. I really, really enjoyed this book. So clearly, I recommend this book. I think that anybody interested should go pick up a copy. Maybe you're doing one of those book challenges where you need to read a translated work. It's getting towards the end of the year and you haven't read a translated work yet. Go grab this. Maybe you normally read literary fiction. You don't read fantasy. Read this. Maybe you normally read fantasy and you don't read literary. Go read this. Historical fiction people also, you'll love this. If you just want to go to Paris for a little bit, but in a way that is upsetting in patriarchy ways, go here. If you just want a piece of fast, interesting feminist fiction, this is what I recommend to you. Also, there's a movie. I'm excited to watch the movie. I don't watch a ton of movies. I don't watch a ton of French movies either, but I'm gonna go watch this French movie. I think it's on Amazon. I loved The Mad Women's Ball. I'm excited to see what Victoria Ma does next. Thank you for watching. I super appreciate it. If you've read this book, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments or just anywhere I live on the internet. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you have book recommendations kind of like this book that are kind of fantasy in a literary way or historical fiction, I don't know. If you have recommendations based on this, I'll read them. I love it. Thank you. But thank you for watching. I will see you if you come back. Bye!